She arrived in Paris like a shimmering mirage, a figure of mystery and allure. The city, with its cobblestone streets and bustling cafes, was a world away from her past. Paris, the city of lights, was ready to embrace her, and she was ready to be reborn. Margarethe Zell, a name soon to be shed like a winter coat. She was a woman on the brink of transformation, leaving behind the remnants of a troubled past. Her new identity would be her ticket to freedom and fame. The year was 1905. The world was changing, and so was she. In the heart of Paris, she found the perfect stage for her metamorphosis. The city was alive with the spirit of innovation and creativity, a perfect backdrop for her new persona. The city, a whirlwind of art and desire. She reinvented herself amidst the bohemian splendor of Montmartre and the opulence of the Champs-Élysées. Paris was a canvas, and she was the artist, painting her life with bold strokes of ambition and allure. Matahari, she declared, eyes flashing with an invented Eastern mystique. She crafted a persona that was both exotic and enigmatic, a dancer from the East who mesmerized with her every move. Her name, Matahari, meaning Eye of the Day in Malay, added to her allure. Paris, hungry for the exotic, devoured her whole. The city's elite flocked to her performances, eager to be enchanted by her mysterious charm. She became the talk of the town, a sensation that everyone wanted to witness. Her dances, a sensual feast. Each performance was a carefully choreographed spectacle, blending elements of traditional Eastern dance with her own unique flair. She moved with a grace and sensuality that left audiences spellbound. Veils swirling, jewels glittering, she captivated audiences. Her costumes were as much a part of the performance as her movements, each piece designed to enhance the illusion of an exotic princess from a faraway land. The veils, the jewels, the music, all combined to create a mesmerizing experience. Princes and generals, artists and diplomats, all drawn to her flame. She moved in circles of power and influence, her charm opening doors that were closed to most. Her allure was irresistible, and she used it to her advantage, navigating the complex social landscape of Paris with ease. But beneath the surface, a current of desperation ran cold. The glittering facade hid a woman who was constantly struggling to maintain her place in the spotlight. The pressures of her double life weighed heavily on her, and the fear of being exposed was a constant companion. Matahari, the seductress, was also a woman alone. Behind the glamorous exterior was a person who longed for genuine connection and understanding. Her life was a delicate balance of illusion and reality, a dance that she performed with both grace and trepidation. In the end, her ascent to fame was as much a story of personal reinvention as it was a tale of triumph and tragedy. Her lovers were a kaleidoscope of power and influence, rich industrialists showering her with jewels, high-ranking military officers whispering secrets in the dead of night. Each man a conquest, a stepping stone in a world built on illusion. She was a master manipulator, using her charm, her wit, her body as weapons in a dangerous game, but were they conquests, or was she the one conquered? Each lover left their mark, a tangled thread in the tapestry of her life, a life lived on the edge of a knife. The year 1914. War swept across Europe, a dark cloud consuming everything in its path. Matahari's world, a world of champagne and silk sheets, crumbled. The men who had adored her now donned uniforms, their eyes hardened by war. But war, she soon realized, was another stage, another opportunity to use her skills. Her lovers, once sources of pleasure, became pawns in a dangerous game. Information whispered in the dark, a stolen glance, a coded message hidden in a love letter. Matahari the dancer was now dancing with espionage. Among her many lovers, one stood out. Arnold von Kahle, a German attaché, his eyes as cold and calculating as hers. Their affair, a whirlwind of passion and suspicion. He offered her wealth, protection. In return, he demanded her loyalty. She became his informant, feeding him tidbits of information gleaned from her other lovers. French military secrets whispered on silken sheets, exchanged for diamonds and promises of safety. But as the war raged on, so did the suspicions surrounding her. Was she a German spy, or simply a woman trying to survive? The Russian officer, a fleeting romance with high stakes. Even as she played the role of von Kahle's lover, Matahari's heart, if it could be called that, yearned for another. She was a woman of many faces, a chameleon in a world of shadows and secrets. Her life was a dance on the edge of a knife, and her heart, though often hidden, was not immune to the pangs of genuine emotion. Vadim Maslov, a dashing young Russian officer, his eyes filled with the pain of war. He was not just another soldier, he was a man who had seen too much, felt too deeply. The horrors of the battlefield had left their mark on him, etching lines of sorrow and wisdom on his youthful face. He awakened something in her, a flicker of genuine emotion in the darkness. In a world where deception was the norm, their connection was a rare and precious thing. It was as if, for a brief moment, the masks they wore had slipped, revealing the vulnerable souls beneath. Their affair was brief, passionate. It was a whirlwind of stolen moments and whispered confessions, a dance of desire and despair. They found solace in each other's arms, a fleeting escape from the harsh realities that surrounded them. He spoke of his longing for home, for peace. His words were a window into his soul, revealing a man who yearned for a life beyond the battlefield. He dreamed of a world where he could lay down his arms and find solace in the simple joys of life. She listened, offering comfort, solace. In those moments she was not the infamous spy, but a woman who understood the pain of longing and loss. She offered him a shoulder to lean on, a heart that, despite its many scars, still had the capacity to care. But their love was doomed from the start. The world they lived in was unforgiving, and their roles as enemies made their love a dangerous game. They were two souls caught in a web of intrigue and betrayal, their love a fragile flame in a storm of deceit. He was the enemy, and she, a woman caught in a web of her own making. Their love, though real, was a fleeting moment in a world where trust was a luxury they could not afford. In the end, they were both victims of the very world they sought to navigate, their love a tragic footnote in the annals of history. Unveiling the double agent Mata Hari's web of deception. As the war dragged on, Mata Hari's web of lies began to unravel. The French intelligence service, suspicious of her movements, her connections, placed her under surveillance. Her every step, every encounter, scrutinized. They discovered her dealings with von Kalle, her coded messages, her betrayals. But what they didn't know, what no one knew, was that Mata Hari was playing a dangerous game of her own. She was a double agent, feeding the Germans misinformation while secretly working for the French. The night of her arrest, the Parisian sky wept. Rain lashed the windows of her luxurious apartment as French agents stormed inside. Mata Hari, clad in a silk robe, met their gaze with defiance. "You are mistaken," she declared, her voice laced with ice. But her protests fell on deaf ears. They found incriminating documents, coded messages, proof of her treachery, or so they believed. Mata Hari, the exotic dancer, the seductress, the spy, was dragged away, her world collapsing around her. The trial was a media sensation. Mata Hari, once celebrated, now vilified. The prosecution presented their case, painting her as a ruthless spy, responsible for the deaths of thousands. They spoke of her lovers, her betrayals, her greed. She maintained her innocence, claiming she was a courtesan, not a spy, that her dealings with the Germans were merely a means of survival. But her words rang hollow in the ears of a nation desperate for a scapegoat, a nation hungry for retribution. On a crisp October morning, in a field outside Paris, Mata Hari faced her fate. She refused to blindfold, her back straight, her chin held high. 12 French soldiers aimed their rifles, their faces grim, their eyes cold. The shots rang out, echoing through the stillness. Mata Hari, the woman who had danced with danger, who had lived a life of intrigue and illusion, collapsed to the ground. Her story, a tangled web of love, betrayal, and espionage, silenced forever. Over a century later, Mata Hari's story continues to fascinate. Her life, filled with intrigue and mystery, has captivated historians, writers, and filmmakers alike. Born Margaretha Geertruida Zeller in the Netherlands, she reinvented herself as Mata Hari, a name that would become synonymous with seduction and espionage. Was she a ruthless spy, a femme fatale who used her charm to betray nations? Or was she merely a performer, an exotic dancer who found herself entangled in the dangerous world of espionage during World War I? Her performances, often provocative and daring, made her a sensation in Parisian nightlife, but also drew the attention of military intelligence. Or was she a victim of circumstance, a woman caught in the crossfire of war, her story twisted to fit a narrative of betrayal? As Europe was engulfed in the chaos of war, Mata Hari's movements and associations were scrutinized. Accusations flew, and she was arrested by the French authorities, charged with espionage for Germany. The truth, like the woman herself, remains elusive. Was she truly a double agent, or was she a scapegoat, a convenient target for a nation desperate to find someone to blame? Her trial was sensational, filled with dramatic testimonies and scant evidence. Despite the lack of concrete proof, she was convicted and sentenced to death. Mata Hari, the exotic dancer, the courtesan, the accused spy, has become a legend. Her life story, filled with glamour and tragedy, continues to inspire and provoke debate. She was executed by firing squad in 1917, but her legacy lives on, a symbol of the complexities of war and the enigmatic nature of human identity. A cautionary tale of love and war, of ambition and betrayal. Mata Hari's story serves as a reminder of the perils faced by women who dared to defy societal norms and the harsh judgments they often endured. Her life and death raise questions about justice, gender, and the power of myth. Her name, forever synonymous with espionage, intrigue, and the enduring power of a woman shrouded in mystery. Mata Hari remains an enduring figure in popular culture, a testament to the allure of the unknown and the timeless fascination with those who live on the edge of society. Her story, whether viewed as a tragedy or a tale of empowerment, continues to captivate and inspire.